If you're a beginner who can't tune your guitar by ear, you're missing out on one of the most important skills every real guitarist should have. Today, I'll show you why you shouldn't rely on a tuner and give you 2 easy ways to tune your guitar by ear, even if you've never tried it before. Before we talk about why you should learn to tune by ear, let's jump straight into the first and easiest way to do this. We'll start with the low E string and tune the whole guitar from that one string.
Wait, hold up. How do I know if my low E string's in tune?
We're gonna get to that in just a second. For now, you're gonna press the 5th fret on the low E string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that note is an A, which is the same note as this next string, open. So those 2 notes should match. And if you don't know the names of the strings, just remember Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. Or another good one from my comments, every awesome dad goes bald early. So play the 5th fret on the low E string, and then we're gonna match that next string open to that note. And if the next string sounds too high, turn the tuning peg towards you this way to lower the pitch. And if it sounds too low, turn it away from you to raise the pitch. Now, sometimes I'll purposely tune it a little too low and then go up from there because I find it a little easier to hear that way. But what we're listening for here is the waves. So when it's out of tune, you're gonna hear the sound wobble, wah, 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 wah. And then as you get closer to getting in tune, the waves will slow down and then eventually go to a straight tone when it's in tune. So that's what you're listening for. Wah, 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 and that's when it's in tune. Now, when you're doing this, make sure that this part of your finger isn't touching the string below it and accidentally muting that, because you want to let both notes ring out while you're adjusting with this hand, because that's going to be way more accurate that way versus plucking one at a time and going back and forth. Okay, so let's try this. Now we're going to repeat that exact same process for this next string. So on the A string, play the 5th fret, which is a D note, and then you're going to play the D string open and try to match those 2 notes. Now we're going to do the exact same thing again. 5th fret on the D string, which is a G, and then the G string open. Now if you're on an acoustic, since the tuning pegs are down here for these 3 strings, it's going to feel backwards. So if the note is too low, you're going to turn it towards you to get it higher. Okay, now for the next string, this one's going to be different. We're going to use the 4th fret instead of the 5th fret. So this 4th fret is a B note, and then the B string open. And then last, we're going to use the 5th fret again on the B string, which is a E note, and then the high E string open. Now that one's too high, so I'm going to make it lower by turning it away from me. So you're going to use the 5th fret for every string except the G string, which is the 4th fret. All right, before we get to the second way, why should you learn to tune your guitar by ear? Well, imagine this. You hear a song you love, pick up your guitar, and just start to be able to figure it out. No tabs, no music, no YouTube, just using your ears. The way that you get there is by training your ears, which takes practice, and learning to tune your guitar by ear is one of the most simple ways you can start. Sometimes you won't have a tuner or a phone app handy and you'll need to tune it by ear. Otherwise, it's gonna sound really bad and it'll be embarrassing if you don't know how to tune it. But there are times when you should use a tuner, like if you're jamming to a track or you're playing with other musicians, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're in tune with the recording or the other musicians. But if you're just playing guitar by yourself, this is a great way to do it. All right, now let's get to the second way, which is the way that I use because I think you can get a lot more accurate and you can hear the waves a little bit easier. For this, we're gonna use something called harmonics. To get the first harmonic, you're gonna touch the low E string right over the 5th fret. Don't actually press down, just let your finger lightly touch the string, and also make sure you're touching exactly over the 5th fret, this little metal line right here. And that little chimey sound is your harmonic. And on the A string, you're going to do the same thing on the 7th fret, and those should be the same note, which they're not. Hear the waves? So now we're going to do the same thing we did before, and we're going to adjust it until the waves disappear. Now, with both of these techniques, we're tuning the guitar to the low E string. And if you don't have a tuner, there's no way to know if that low E string is in tune, but it doesn't really matter in this situation because if you're playing alone, we're just tuning the guitar to itself. And on the A string, we're gonna do the same thing. 5th fret and then 7th fret. Now that one's too high. By the way, when I'm doing this on electric, I like to use the position 1 on this pickup switch, which is using this bridge pickup because it's just a little bit easier to hear. And if you noticed, it was kind of close, but I made it a little lower on purpose just because I like coming up from there. And the next one will be the exact same. 5th fret and then 7th fret. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. When you're tuning the B string, use the low E string 7th fret as your reference note. And then you're going to do the B string harmonic on the 12th fret. That's too high, so we're gonna go down from there. And if you don't know, go a little lower and go up from there. Sometimes I also like to do it as a chord, so I'll hit the 7th fret on the E string, 7th fret on the A string, and then the 12th fret on the B string. And then for this last one, we're going to use the 5th fret on the B string and the 7th fret on the E string. But what if you did it exactly like I showed you, but your guitar still sounds out of tune? Well, you could just need a little more practice because even if you were just a little bit off on some of those, it's going to sound bad when you play a chord. Or it could be your guitar's intonation, and that's how the guitar stays in tune across the whole neck, not just the open strings. So if you play one chord and it sounds in tune, and then you play another chord and it sounds out of tune, your intonation could be off and you might need a setup. If you take it to a good guitar tech, he should be able to get you fixed up. It is a little trickier on acoustic, but it's super easy on electric. I hope this video helped. Subscribe for more beginner-friendly tutorials, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.